Welcome to an extra episode of Money Majlis, the show where we unravel big ideas shaping the future of money, leadership, and society. I'm your host, Shubho Sarkar, and today I'm in Mumbai, India. Today's guest is someone who embodies unconventional thinking in education and leadership, Dr. Ranjan Banerjee, the person leading the creation of the new Nayanta University in Pune, India. Ranjan is a globally recognized educator, consultant, and alumnus of the Indian Institute of Management, Calcutta, my own alma mater. He has steered leading Indian business schools and is now pioneering a bold new experiment in higher education. We'll dive deep into his journey, from corporate consulting to academia, and from behavioral sciences to designing a university for tomorrow. Plus, we'll get a behind-the-scenes look into Nayanta University, its values-driven approach, and Ranjan's personal philosophies. But first, a message from my sponsors.
Money Majlis is proudly supported by Aqua Now, the premier crypto-as-a-service provider, now building in partnership with the top financial institutions in the Middle East. Discover more at aquanow.com.
Money Majlis is brought to you by E&, a global technology group.
Money Majlis is brought to you by Intellect Design Arena, driving digital adoption in banking and insurance.
Money Majlis is brought to you by Live Digital Bank, powered by Emirates NBD. Trust and innovation combined.
Money Majlis is brought to you by Network International, the leading digital payments technology company in the Middle East and Africa.
My guest today on Money Majlis Extra is Dr. Ranjan Banerjee. Ranjan is the founding Vice Chancellor of Nayanta University in Pune, a bold new university reimagining how education can empower, include, and inspire. Before this, Ranjan has held transformative leadership roles. As Dean at SPJ Institute of Management and Research in Mumbai, he was celebrated for driving innovative program design and experiential learning. Then, as a founding Dean of BITS School of Management, Mumbai, he set the tone for a progressive, globally informed business school in India. Ranjan's professional journey began in management consulting, working with a wide spectrum of organizations, from Fortune 500 multinationals to fast-growing Indian startups, helping them drive strategic change and organizational renewal. He is particularly respected for integrating behavioral science and design thinking into business and education, earning recognition with keynote invitations at global forums and with research published in the Harvard Business Review. Ranjan exemplifies versatility and vision. He is a sought-after advisor, an award-winning educator, and a mentor celebrated for his empathy and insight. He has consistently championed innovation, inclusion, and a learner-centered approach to leadership. Good morning, Ranjan, and thank you for driving down to Mumbai from Pune, where you live and work now. How are you doing?
So good morning, Shubho. I think it's very good. Thank you so much for inviting me to this podcast. I'm doing well. I'm looking forward to the conversation.
Oh, wonderful, Ranjan. Let me start with something a bit broad brush. You had a fascinating career so far. You started as an engineer, then moved into consulting, marketing, academia, and now university leadership. Tell me, what personal experiences have shaped your philosophy in education? And looking back, Ranjan, what aspects of your own education do you wish had been different?
So there are two questions there, right? So what personal experiences have shaped your philosophy on education? And maybe I'll separate two things. One is education and the second is education leadership.
Yeah.
So early on when I left the corporate sector, I started teaching an MBA class at Symbiosis.
Mm-hmm.
And I was building my own business at the same time and I had time.
Mm-hmm.
So because I had time, I spent a lot of time with students outside the classroom.
Okay.
And got to know them.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that turned out to be transformational for many of those students.
Mm-hmm.
it was definitely transformational for me because I saw real impact. And the one thing, therefore, that I took from that is that if teachers were accessible to students beyond the classroom in small groups and one-on-one, the ability to impact lives was much greater.
Okay.
And when I moved into academic leadership, the deans and directors I had met throughout my career were people you met twice, once at your inauguration and once at your convocation.
Correct.
I was determined to be a leader who did all the things in between. That is, I would teach a full course. I would be available to the students. And I believed that if the head of the institution was personally approachable to all stakeholders, then you'd build a culture. And that culture, so every academic assignment that I'm doing, it has been about culture. A culture of approachability, a culture of care. And when you reach out to students with genuine approachability, what you create is, it's very powerful. It has a multiplier
So,
effect.
Ranjan, that's about the teacher. I understand that fully. How would you question the pedagogy that you and I grew up with in school and college? How would you change it if you had a chance today?
I've tried in every institution with mixed success, but I had this conversation with a friend of mine, R. Gopalakrishnan, and he had said this, that he said, in your classrooms, what percentage is teaching the curriculum and what percentage is creating curiosity in the subject? I believe, and SPJMR was a very good institute, but my best teachers at SPJMR were not more than 20% curiosity. I think the ideal is 50% teach curiosity. So the pedagogical answer is just simply this. Students left to themselves with the right triggers can learn so much, and you need to teach much less. So the classroom is about creating curiosity and interest in the subject. For that, we need fundamentally to walk away. If there's a continuum from the teacher as sage on the stage and lecturer to the teacher as facilitator, you need to move somewhere towards the midpoint of that scale and beyond. It will vary from subjects. I mean, physics cannot be taught as facilitatively as leadership. But I think that core idea, answers are not as important as questions.
Okay.
If we teach students to ask the right questions, they will find their own answers. And finding their own answers, that ability to find their own answers is really what you're trying to do in education.
So is this the course, Learning to Learn, that you pioneered? Is this what it is all about?
Learning to Learn is a bit about this, but it is about also this other idea that if you take two executives with 30 years of experience, the question that I would ask is, one of them has 30 years of experience, has 1 year repeated 30 times, and the other has learned from each year.
Okay.
So experience is not differential. It is the ability to learn from experience that is differential. So how do you abstract from experience? How do you find the method? I mean, typically you will find in management, you'll find careers that a lot of people reach a certain level in a hierarchy
Correct.
at a similar time. Then there are some people who shoot up.
Correct.
Right? Because the biggest jobs in your life, you're never ready for. It is your ability to learn on the job. It is, some of it is the preparation and learning you've got for jobs you didn't know you would have. But some of it is also your ability to be self-aware and reinvent on the job. And I think a lot of that is a function of reflection. It's a function of, I think many of the best leaders I've known are readers. And they go beyond the business. So I think curiosity is not a tap you can switch off, right? So if you retain that curiosity and retain that optimism, then you will learn.
And the point you made that is very interesting, Ranjan, is you're never ready for the big job in your life.
Right.
Often in our corporate lives, we are looking for a leader. Is he ready for this job, right? Either it's too late, he was ready a year back or 2 years back, and he's moved on to an opportunity somewhere else. So you missed out on him. Or you're putting somebody who might require learning on the job. You seem to prefer the latter, that take a chance on a leader and let him or her learn on the job, because you can never find somebody totally ready at the right point of time.
I think that totally ready is a myth.
Okay.
And and if you look for the totally ready, you will get somebody who will not experiment enough. And my answer to this one is also saying that, let's say you go into a job. I mean, I went to an academic leadership, and there's a cycle, right? You go assistant professor, associate professor, professor, and then leader.
Yeah.
And I went straight into leadership. I didn't go, I mean, I had taught, I had researched, but I didn't go through the rungs. I had never run a program in my life. And I think in those assignments, what you're doing is 70% of the job I know, 30% of the job I don't know. The ability to seek out people who are better than you and supplement yourself and be willing to have that dissent, I think is very important. The second concept I very much like is that when there are things you don't know, if you are able to surround yourself both with mentors and team members who have better skills than you, and you consult, you don't do what they tell you to do, but you consult, then there is this very important concept I don't think people talk enough about, which is the mistakes you don't make. So I think the best leaders create mechanisms to not make preventable mistakes. So there is risk and there is preventable error, and the two are different, if that makes sense.
The mistakes you don't make. Interesting concept. Yes. Ranjan, the university you're setting up now is called Nayanta. Nayanta means new hope. Nayanta aims to be more than an academic institution. It's almost like a movement, right? Share the genesis story with us. What problem are you trying to solve with Nayanta for higher education?
So I will talk about this first from the point of view of the founders. Because I came into this project 2 years back. The founders have been on it for 6 years. And a group of industrialists kept meeting, and there were many of them, Naushad Forbes, Chris Gopalakrishnan, they were past presidents of CII. And they were talking about the fact that India as a country has arguably world-class engineering and management institutes. We do not have a single world-class university in the tradition of Oxford, Cambridge, Penn, Harvard, Stanford, etc. And they said we need 100. And let's start off by building one. And that's one clear idea, that we build a world-class, broader, liberal arts and sciences university in the tradition of the best universities in the world out of India.
Okay.
This is one clear idea. There are two other ideas which I think are important. One is this concept that our student profile at Nayanta will be representative of the geographic and economic diversity of India. 70% of India does its schooling in the vernacular. There is no reason to believe that there is not the same proportion of talent in that 70% as in the balance 30%.
Of course, yeah.
And if you can truly create a cohort that brings all this talent in, then you are sourcing your talent from the population of India.
Got it.
And not from the 30% which has access. And this is not just an inclusion agenda, this is a strategic agenda. Because if we can do this well, we will have the best cohort in the country. So this, I think, is one dimension. The second is that in our country, if you look at degrees in engineering and management, you have internships. You could do economics, English literature, philosophy, sociology, even physics. And go into the world with little or no reality check. So one of the ideas is this, that can we expose people to not only the corporate sector, the government sector and the social sector, and then say you do a 5-month internship in the sector of choice. Let people make informed choices. And let's reduce, a lot of our education is understandably and should be very idealistic. That idealism should be tempered with an understanding of the gap between the idealism that you've been taught and what it takes to make change happen in the real world. So prepare them from reality. They should still be idealistic, but perhaps we want to move from complaining about the world to changing it a little bit. And when I say change it, it doesn't necessarily mean transform it, but can our students go into any environment and improve it just a little bit? And once people have experienced that in the program itself, it changes them. The third dimension is we are talking about leaders for India. I cannot force my students to do something for the country, but if they experience India, then they will be touched in some way. Even if they're doing research in a foreign land, they will still want to impact India. And we are defining leadership broader than just the corporate sector.
Got it.
You could be a social sector leader. You could work in government, and we'd be very, very happy if some of them went to government, some of them entered politics. Because that's the way we'll move the country forward, no?
Of course. Tell me, at the moment, it's an undergraduate program that you're setting out.
Right.
But obviously, you anticipate broadening that to a postgraduate program in the future, correct? But is the idea of internship to allow these undergraduates easy access into the world of jobs, whether it's social sector or corporate sector or a government sector?
So that's a very good question. Unfortunately, that's the way that has become in much of our education. I would like to think internships are about learning about the real world. It will often result in a job, but the job is a happy byproduct. The job is not the goal. The goal is that people are better prepared for reality. So we are doing a 5-month internship.
Okay.
I wouldn't do a 5-month internship if all I wanted was a job at the end. But if I wanted you to understand and have the experience of understanding a context and actually making a difference to the organization. And I think it is okay for you to do immersions in 3 sectors. Maybe you do government for 5 months and you say, I don't want government. I want to do another sector. That's fine. But I think the larger thing is, let's make choices which are aligned with whom we really are. And as far as possible, I mean, for a lot of us, I mean, I can speak for myself, our choices were largely fashion determined. Economic incentive determined. And then maybe at the age of 29 or 30 or 35, we started asking, what is it that we really want to do? We hope that our kids will be purpose seekers at an earlier age so that they will find their happiness. Because this sounds cliched, but I think the worst thing that can happen is you climb your own mountain and you hate the view from the top.
That's very well put. But tell me, how do you change parents' mindset then, Ranjan? Because see, the parents are
it's a great question. It's a lovely question.
Sending their kids, and they equate a good education with a good job, and a good job with financial success. So education equal to financial success. That's the equation. For most parents, not just in India, but globally, there are very few parents who will send their children, go seek your purpose and do what you really want to do. Very few parents, right? If you want to give your kids a head start in life, people believe they should have a quote-unquote good education, which gives them quote-unquote a good job and therefore financial security. How do you change that paradigm?
So initially, this happens by selection. Fortunately for us, India and the world has a large number of people and we have one university. Initially, there will be self-selection. It is those parents who have experience in their own lives that what they studied is very different from what they ended up doing. Or those parents who are exposed to a liberal education worldwide, they will often be your first customers.
Okay.
So, and because you're looking at batch sizes of 50, 100, going to 200, it will not be difficult. The other thing is that an Ashoka or a Kriya has already started to create this market.
Ashoka University being the first.
Ashoka was the first and I think they've done quite a good job.
Correct.
I think, and then your students will speak for you. So by the time you have the outcomes of your first batch, this will no longer be an issue. And so I think in any new idea, there are early adopters and you know that cycle. So I think there are enough early adopters. I don't think it's a problem. I think that, there is a whole segment that has already looked at an IB, IGCSE education, which is already oriented. But we find that slowly, the gap between professions, even in India, and the trend to take engineering, medicine, and chartered accountancy is going down. There are more people who are willing to look at it. And finally, today with AI, conventional jobs are more risky. While somebody with a multidisciplinary education who understands people, understands technology, understands cultures, is actually more employable. If you look at Europe, for instance, today, India is still an employment market. Europe is an employability market. Slowly, the market has to move from employment to employability Because the concept of somebody joining one job and being there for 35 years is an outdated concept. It no
Agree.
longer exists.
I agree. Tell me, you talk about the choices that people make when coming into university. What about the choices they make after joining the university? What I mean by that is, will your curriculum or course structure allow pivoting? I'm in the third year and I suddenly decide I don't like what I did in the first 2 years. I mean, the US education system, the beauty is you could start with physics and end up doing music. Will you allow that kind of flexibility in Nayanta?
It's a 4-year course. Year 3 may be a little late.
Okay.
We are allowing for a 16-month foundation and a double major.
Okay.
So in a double major structure, you could take your second major into year 2.5 and be fine. But I think more than that, what we are doing in the first 1.5 years is we are exposing you to everything.
Okay.
So the idea is, and also we are doing something called a personal development plan, where we are doing psychometrics with everything. So we are helping you understand yourself.
Okay.
And you are experimenting, but you are doing informed experiments. So you're experimenting with sectors, you're experimenting with subjects, and we are flexible on combination. So you could do physics and psychology. You could do physics and English literature.
Okay.
You could do physics, English literature, and entrepreneurship as a minor. So we are building that flexibility into the curriculum. So I think it is okay if somebody came to me at year 2.5 and said, I want to change. We should be able to add on a second mind. But I think the larger thing is this. Very few universities have cracked this code of faculty spending time with each student. I, as the university head, I am making this commitment that for the first 3 years, I will know every student personally.
Wow.
Not just their names, but their life journeys. And that will be a culture. And if you do that, then this aspect of people discovering choices is less. It won't go away, but I think, okay, so here is another kind of perspective. We've looked at education where, we take 100 bright students or 200 bright students, and we're ranking them on this single number called the CGPA throughout our curriculum. Replace that with saying we're 100 bright students. Each of them is special in every way, in some way. We want to discover what is special. So it's about 100 journeys where people shine rather than ranking along a linear scale. I mean, there are problems with executing that, but...
Yeah, the measurement might be a challenge that you have to figure out. But tell me, aren't you then by definition becoming elitist? You are talking about going to the villages and towns and picking up these students who are good in vernacular, understood, that's very, very laudable, out of English and other vernacular languages. But eventually you're picking 100 students. And obviously giving them a personal touch, the 4 C's we'll talk about in a minute. But then you are producing these 100, 200, maybe 300, 400
Maybe
students.
500, 1,000.
Maybe 500. But isn't that still very elitist?
So let me talk about 3-4 things. Our students will be at the top of the student scale. They will be among the brightest students in the country. So yes. Even when we are talking about underprivileged, we are picking the brightest whom the NGOs have been working with since Standard 8.
Okay.
But I think what is different is this. I have done an interview with a girl who's saying, sir, I'm the only unmarried girl in my family. I'm stubborn. I have convinced my parents that if I get into this university, then I should not get married at this age. So we are talking about first generation learners.
Got it.
So these are people who will have a multiplier
effect.
They may be elite students. One, they'll have a multiplier effect on their villages and towns.
Correct.
The second is, and this is a conviction to be proven, their desire to impact and give back to where they came from is larger. Their desire to work with the community will be larger. Their understanding of the real India will be larger. They may be elites with a conscience, and that's not so bad.
So do you have a urban-rural quota, Ranjan, while you're hiring students?
No, we haven't done that. Over a period of time, I think first what we will end up doing is just we're working through NGOs. We already have a national cohort even in our first year. So it's coming from across. we need to go deeper and deeper with the NGOs for us to truly reach the villages. We may be now at the stage where we are saying metros plus 30, 40 cities. There are students from even more remote areas, but metros plus 30, 40. As you expand your outreach, you will kind of go deeper. But some of the interesting things we've done, for instance, we realized that we need English language proficiency. So we have an aptitude test.
Yeah.
But we also realized that if I'm asking you to write about values, you're better at writing about values in the language you think in.
Mm-hmm.
So even in our first year, we've allowed essays in 3 languages.
Yeah.
We've allowed interviews in 3 languages. And these were battles that we had to fight even with, to kind of align. And it works. There are students in an interview who are reasonably good in English. But you say flip the language and...
They are brilliant.
So...
Interesting. Very interesting. What are the gender mix? Are you seeing equal representation? Or are you actually forcing that?
We are not forcing it. This is something I've realized in other institutions also. When you have an interview process that is a lot about discovery of the person and discovery of human qualities, girls tend to do better. So our class will be more girls than boys. I mean,
really?
exact percentages I cannot give at this point. But over a period of time, we think it will be close to 50-50, 55-45, but it will be girls.
But even in the US education system, the last I saw was 52% women graduates and only 48% men.
I think it's also the subject mix. So the
liberal arts tend to attract more women. Tell me, you say the university is built on 4 C's. You talk about care, curiosity, confidence, and careers. Can you walk us through why these and how do you see them translating into the actual student experience?
Yeah, so this has evolved. I think care is the very first piece that we are talking about. And in my mind, care is about what we spoke about earlier, that lives are transformed when faculty spends time with students outside the classroom.
Yeah.
And you know the whole student, not just the student who's studying a subject, but the whole human being. And the fact that students can talk to you. And this care is not restricted to any one individual. It's a culture of the institution. So the care is a cultural piece where students can talk, and care helps students to discover themselves.
Correct.
The second element is curiosity, which is actually a human innate trait, which our education system suppresses over time. And if I can create curiosity, which is really saying that my curriculum is teaching you to ask good questions.
Right.
And if the curriculum does that, students will learn more than 50% of their material on their own. And that curiosity will also remove some of the fear. Because by the time they come into undergraduate, people are like, I'm not good at math, I'm not good at English. Right? The world has classified itself, and most of that is a myth. Correct. It's because of a judgment that some teachers. So curiosity is through conversation. Curiosity is through encouraging questions. It's about also recruiting faculty who can create a two-way environment in the classroom. So you remove the hierarchy from the role of the faculty. The third is, we are saying do a lot of real world. Do projects. Even in your courses, we are talking about capstone projects. So there's a lot of doing. So the idea being that students do, fail, learn that it's okay to fail, again do, experiment, have some success, and then they have developed confidence. A confidence of knowing yourself, a confidence of knowing it's easy to fail, and third, a confidence of knowing that there is a real world, it's complex, it's difficult, but I, with my education and my thought process, can make a difference to a real world problem. And, I think Steve Jobs said something like this: once you know you can touch reality and shape it just a bit, you'll never be the same. So we believe. So it's a quiet confidence. It's a confidence that doesn't need to shout. And the careers is one, as a consequence of these internships, you'll get a job. But I think a much larger piece in careers is we are saying technical intelligence as well as technical literacy, cultural literacy. We're also teaching you how to learn, how to reflect. So you're well positioned. It's likely that 1 out of 2 students will lose their job to AI once.
Correct.
How prepared are you? How curious are you? How good are you at relearning? How resilient are you? So that's also the second dimension of careers, I think.
So 2 follow-on questions from there. Obviously, your objectives are very, very lofty. you're recruiting students with a certain mindset. Understood. One, how are you recruiting teachers and professors for this? And two, how are you selecting the books or material for this program to make it more interdisciplinary?
So I'll talk about the teacher aspect.
Yeah.
Because in academic institutions, faculty have a lot of freedom.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't really tell faculty how to teach.
Okay.
But you recruit faculty who care and will teach in a certain way.
Mm.
So if you look at a faculty ad, and I'll share that with you later. The faculty ad signals a culture.
Okay.
And it says that if you, we are saying we want faculty who are passionate about doing research that matters, but who want to teach and who don't spend time with students outside the classroom because we are telling them, but because they enjoy it. And the second dimension of that faculty piece is that we are saying that ideally we'll not hire any faculty who is not willing to teach outside their discipline too. So every faculty member at Nayanta must be able to teach in more than one discipline.
Okay.
We are building it into the recruitment piece. You can specify some of it, but I think what happens is you put out communication. You attract people who are attracted by the multidisciplinarity. Somebody who's very rigid in the discipline may just say, hey, I'll go to an IIT or I'll go somewhere else. So you self-select over a period.
And how's the response been so far?
I don't know whether I should put numbers. We have 900 applications for 10 faculty positions.
Wow.
We have faculty applying from PhDs from Oxford, Duke, you name the top global institution. We had a PhD applying from most of the top things. And we've made some hires also. So.
And coming back to my question.
And there are people who are leaving tenure jobs in the US and coming and joining.
Wow, well done.
So,
coming back to my question about books and material, what would you use to teach? Will you have printed material anymore or no?
A lot of that has become online now.
Okay.
But I think we tend to leave that to faculty. We have found that faculty no longer use just books.
Okay.
So there is a lot of movies. There are a lot of engagement outside the classroom. There's a lot of writing assignments. There's a lot of field trips. So I think over a period of time, faculty will use multiple media and multiple exercises. The classical book still has a role. The reading habit still has a role. One of the things we are doing, which is interesting, is we have a communication course, which runs for 16 months, which is all aspects of communication, because we believe that the ability to think and write clearly is a foundational skill which influences the other skills. And I don't have a good answer on the books. I do think the physical book is important. One thing that Nayanta will do is we'll do the conversations.
Okay.
So we'll have leaders from every... In fact, I'd love to invite you. Basically you come to the campus and I don't need to have all 100 students. I need to have 10 students in a green campus sitting with you under a tree.
And chatting.
And chatting and asking you good questions. That is an element that... And what that will do is you will see that people have the career paths that you're talking about. Because otherwise people say, hey, if somebody studies history, what's the right job for a historian? That's the wrong way to look at it. If somebody studies history, they have been a student of life.
Correct.
So what you study enables your thought process. It need not be vocational at all.
Absolutely.
And I think this is something the West has known. Yeah. India is only just coming around to.
Correct. Well, I will take you up on the invite to come whenever you're ready. I'm happy to come. It would be great pleasure to actually come and talk to students who are bright and from different backgrounds. Tell me, Ranjan, your expertise in behavioral economics has shaped your teaching and your leadership to a large extent. How do you integrate behavioral science principles into designing curricula or fostering decision-making in education institutions? How do they show up?
Let me give you some very simple examples. I went into SPJMR as a leader. And SPJMR...
That's SPJM, Institute of Management and Research.
SPJM Institute of Management and Research in Mumbai.
Correct.
It's in the Financial Times, it's, I think, ranked number 1 in India for its masters in the Financial Times. So the faculty meet that we had, the seating there was hierarchical. So you had a dean, you had an assistant dean, you had senior professors. So the positions were fixed
Mm.
and you used to meet every week.
Mm.
And this is where the behavioral economist says that culture and context reinforce or do not reinforce the environment. So you can't talk about a culture which is non-hierarchical and reinforce that, right? So in the
Correct.
middle of my first faculty meet, I said, the way we are sitting makes it look like me against all of you. They look at me and they say, it's always been this way. And always been this way is 29 years.
Mm.
And I say, how do you think it should be?
Mm.
They say, maybe it should be random. We make it random.
Mm-hmm.
Every faculty meet after that, as long as I was there,
Random?
The seating was random. Now, random does many things. One, it reduces the hierarchy in the room.
Yeah.
Second,
Mm-hmm.
you're sitting next to a different person every faculty meet.
Correct.
So socialization has improved.
Mm.
So you have changed culture by only changing context. So I think the perspective of the behavioral economist is that, right? That rationality assumes that only the value in a decision and the objective factors matter. Well, the behavioral economists say, hey, you still pick up that chocolate, you have a diet, but you still pick up that chocolate at the counter because you're weak at that point in time.
Correct.
So context matters.
Mm.
So if context matters, does context reinforce or detract from the culture I'm building? And many, many examples. Okay, so a very simple thing. Every room I've had as a dean or a director,
Mm-hmm.
there is normally a big chair and a big table. And there is a sofa, right?
Yeah.
The big chair and the big table is hierarchical because you're sitting across a table and it has all the associations of meeting the school principal, right?
Yeah.
I've never done a meeting at that chair. All my meetings are at the sofa. Because I want to have conversations and not meetings. So another very simple thing. Meet faculty in their rooms, not in your room. Walk across and meet faculty.
Mm.
This is a very corporate thing.
Yeah.
But in an academic institute, it's revolutionary. Because our academic institutes are more hierarchical and more bureaucratic than any corporate, right?
Okay. Mm. Mm. So that's interesting how you apply it in actual practice. Let me move to another field that you specialize in, design thinking. You teach design thinking in corporate courses and university. How do you apply it to curriculum design and student experience at, let's say, Nayanta?
So, if you look at design thinking says, first of all, design thinking is best applied to problems which are not well defined.
Mm.
And you spend time defining the problem.
Mm.
So if you want to look at curriculum design, first of all, what does a good curriculum look like?
Mm.
And you talk to multiple people. You talk to counselors, student counselors.
Mm.
You talk to principals. You talk to school teachers. You talk to faculty. So the idea of talking to many people before you create your first curriculum. The second is your first curriculum is a prototype. It is not cast in stone.
Yeah.
So when you create a curriculum, now we have a curriculum, we've built it.
Yeah.
Once every 6 months, I want feedback.
Mm.
Because I will get to a great curriculum. I'm starting with a good curriculum.
Mm.
The foundational principles I've got from talking to stakeholders. The foundational principles include things like students need to be exposed to every subject. Many students come in with a fear of science or a fear of writing.
Mm.
My curriculum must overcome those fears. Students, to understand reality and to be multidisciplinary, must look at problems which force them to be multidisciplinary. So I have capstone projects. So I have some design principles which are based on insight, which is coming from design thinking.
Yeah.
But I'm good enough to recognize that my curriculum is a prototype and is not cast in concrete.
And would you have a course in design thinking in the campus?
We are teaching design thinking compulsory core. In fact, I'm teaching it myself.
Okay.
Term 1, course 1. And then term 1, course 3, there's a course on iterative prototyping where we have a maker lab where we are going to be more ambitious. We might ask them to actually build out a car or something like that.
Wow.
Because remember confidence comes from picking up something that you didn't think you could do and do it. In fact, I had this very interesting conversation around the growth mindset saying, and the growth mindset basically says, don't look at ability and talent as static, but it grows through stretch. And, one of the things that I haven't executed this, but it's an idea.
Mm.
Take something like juggling,
Uh-huh.
which students don't think they can do.
Correct. And teach them juggling.
And by the end of 15 hours, each student can juggle.
Interesting.
And it's not about the juggling. It's about an approach to something you couldn't do. You embrace discomfort.
How interesting.
And you found an ability that you did not know you had. And if you are then able to extend that to other things, that's confidence. When you look at the third C, that's confidence. So,
And would you have things like improv and stuff in the camp?
very much.
Yeah?
Very much. Improv is a great way to get, we have this faculty who's going to teach systems thinking, Manish Agarwal. He does improv workshops for corporates.
Okay.
And a lot of it, improv makes you more aware of your body.
Yeah, yeah. And
improvisation,
get out
thinking
of
on your feet, comfort zone.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I when I went to Stanford for executive program, that's one part of the program I enjoyed really well. I never did improv when I went to IIM, but I did that in Stanford. It really is something that I think executives should do more and more. Now, it's a good time, Ranjan, for a short commercial break with messages from my sponsors who not only support this podcast, but also fund the free gift cards that I give out as part of the show to support 6 regional and global charities. My guest today, Dr. Ranjan Banerjee, has chosen to give his $1,000 gift card to Jaipur Foot. Great choice, Ranjan, and thank you. As a listener, you can get a free $50 gift card by visiting my website, moneymajlis.com, and then choose a charity where you want to contribute that to. Thank you for your effort, and see you after this short break.
The financial world is changing fast. Institutions need to meet the growing client demand for crypto financial services, but they need a battle-tested platform to build upon.
AquaNow is a leading crypto financial services platform, powering incumbent institutions to launch crypto brokerage, payments, and remittance services for their clients, securely and at scale.
Be part of the transformation. Visit aquanow.com today.
The end touches your life
in more ways than you can imagine.
You want more tech,
more speed,
more convenience,
more entertainment,
more business solutions.
EAN gives you all that
and so much more.
EAN. Go for more.
Parents teach their children to talk, to walk, to ride, to read. So why not teach them about managing their money? Introducing the all-new Live Light app, designed to teach 8 to 18-year-olds good money habits. A free and totally secure app designed for them that's always under your control. Top up their cards, set limits, assign tasks, and reward them with allowances. Download the LiveX app to open a Live Light account in minutes, and the first 50 dirham allowance is on us. Visit live.me today. Live Digital Bank by Emirates NBD. Trust and innovation combined. T's and C's apply.
Money Majlis is brought to you by Intellect Design Arena. Intellect drives digital adoption in banking and insurance. Leverage emac.ai, the most comprehensive, composable, and intelligent open finance platform for banking and insurance transformation. Intellect Design Arena.
The end touches your life
in more ways than you can imagine.
You want more tech,
more speed,
more convenience,
more entertainment,
more business solutions.
EAN gives you all that
and so much more.
EAN. Go for more.
Money Majlis is brought to you by Network International, the Middle East, and Africa's digital payments champion. We make business happen and economies prosper by simplifying commerce and payments. Trusted by over 250 banks, fintechs and telcos, and 130,000 merchants in over 50 countries. Bringing you tomorrow's payment solutions today.
Welcome back. I'm in Mumbai today, and in this extra edition of Money Majlis, we are talking about education and leadership with Dr. Ranjan Banerjee, globally recognized educator, consultant, and the founding dean of the brand new Nayanta University. Ranjan, tell me a bit more about the internships that you plan for your students at Nayanta. You talked about 1 month immersion in the social, corporate, and government sectors, 1 month each, and then finally a 5-month internship in one of the chosen sectors. What led to this design, and how does it prepare students for a complex world?
So I think there are 2 dimensions to this design. One is that if I tell you the word internship, almost by default, it is corporate sector.
Yeah.
So the idea of the immersions, we'll actually have 3 courses. Introduction to the government sector, introduction to the corporate sector, introduction to the social sector. Within the courses, we will partner with 10 firms.
Okay.
So on day one, the firms will give projects. So towards the beginning, they will go and visit the firms. Then they'll learn about the sector and they will present on the project. So let's say it's a course spread over 2 months.
Yeah.
But in that process, they have actually been inside the sector.
Got it.
So they understand the nuances of the sector, both conceptually as well as physically. Now, when it comes to the 5-month internship, again, they will have options. But now when they're choosing a sector, they have experienced the sector. The second thing I think that happens in this is that we'll really work with the students and work with our CII to really get, 125, 130, 140. So there are more internship choices. Because the idea otherwise is that whatever you study, your internship choices are determined by fashion. Everybody wants to do McKinsey, Bain, BCG, and a set of branded companies. So once you create a deeper experience, and once they've gone into a company and actually seen what that company does, then we believe that people will make better choices. It also works for companies because companies have decided which students were able to adapt and make an impact. So, the model of 3 immersions is, I think, unique to us. The 5-month internship is not unique to us. BITS Pilani has had a practice school for a very long time. They've executed it well. So, the 3 sectors is probably the tweak we've added to it. But the idea is that do a longer thing. Because if somebody comes to a company for 2 months, I'm really not going to give them something that is mission critical.
Correct.
It then becomes more about recruitment than about learning. I really want you to learn what it takes to work in a real environment.
And I like the idea you had about people from these sectors coming into the campus to actually interact with students and share their experiences. Will you also use case studies as an approach to pedagogy or not for the undergrad classes?
We will use case studies. Again, what we will do is when faculty come in, we will have a world-class faculty development module, which will expose them to methodologies. What methodology a specific faculty uses is left to them. We will use case studies, but we will not be Harvard or IIM Ahmedabad. We will not mandate the use of one methodology. I also believe that perhaps the 25-page case study is not the most modern method.
Okay.
The multimedia case study might be far better.
Yeah.
So you can use a combination of video and text, which is perhaps closer to the way the current generation learns.
Absolutely.
Also. So, yeah.
Absolutely. Tell me, you say that Nayanta evaluates students not just on marks, but on achievements, on curiosity and ambition. How would you spot and nurture non-traditional talent like that?
We use essays a lot. We use essays a lot, and the interview is about the whole human being.
Okay.
We want to understand your story in the interview. Our interviews are longer. You will not find Nayanta asking you a calculus question in the interview.
Okay.
We are not checking so much on subject depth. However, if you tell me I'm passionate about calculus, I will want to know. So it's about interviewing the student in their areas of strength. It might seem a simple thing, but very few people do this. We're interviewing you for what you have, not for what you don't have.
And what about, that's the interview process to enroll students. What about once you're in Nayanta, you talk about evaluation based not on marks, but a full story of every student. What metrics will there be the story? Or will the metrics required at all?
I don't have an answer on this particular one on evaluation. It's still something we are thinking about. What we are thinking about is how do I bring in a collaborative component to evaluation for every course? Because as a value, if I'm looking at it purely as a value, collaboration, and I'm sure you would agree, that being collaborative is more important than being competitive.
Absolutely.
And if you asked what should a default filter of a leader be, it should be collaboration first and competition second. You must be able to recognize the competitive.
Absolutely.
If you're playing a game of chess, you're competing, but there are many situations which are collaborative, right? So then your course evaluation must have collaborative components. And there are things we are thinking about. So, for instance, one of the things we are thinking about is, should I reward students if the whole class does better than a certain level? Can I create an incentive for students to help other students learn? Because what has been found is that the best way to learn a subject is to teach it.
Yep.
How can I incentivize students to teach other students while they're... So I don't have answers. These are things we're thinking about. As I said, it's a prototype and we're kind of...
So my final question on Nayanta, Ranjan, is, in your mind, what does success look like for Nayanta 5 years from now?
I can give you two metricized things. In terms of students doing private undergraduate education outside engineering and management, we should be among the top 2.
Wow.
In terms of place where employees, that is faculty and staff, want to work, we should be number 1. Because I think if you get to that number 1, then the other number 1 will just happen. Much more importantly, our students are people who are comfortable in their own skin. They are self-aware.
Yep.
And they go out into the real world with this quiet confidence that they can improve whatever environment they go to. The second one is more important. Since people like numbers, I put these two. My founders have said you don't need to look at rankings for 10 years.
Okay.
So we have the license to build out quality with a 10-year horizon and then look at metrics later.
That makes a lot of sense. Moving on from Nayanta, Ranjan, you co-authored the book, The Made in India Manager, with R. Gopalakrishnan, which won an Institute of Directors Award. Tell me, what key lessons from the book do you think are most relevant today for Indian professionals navigating global careers?
So the genesis of the book was, and the book has actually proved to be prophetic. It came out in 2018 and we basically said more Indian managers will rise to global leadership. And
look at what happened.
And by that time we had Nadella and Pichai, but we didn't have
the rest,
all the others.
Yeah.
And we basically, the idea was that there is a certain set of qualities which comes out of being brought up in India till a formative stage, 18, 21 kind of. That prepares you for global careers. One of the most fundamental things we talked about is dealing with ambiguity. I'll give you a very simple, almost a trivial example. Let us say you have a bill for $12.30 in the US. And you go to Target or any department store in the US. You give them a bill for $20. They will faithfully give you $7.70 back. If you go to Target and say, hey, I happen to have $2.30 and I have 20, I'll give you $22.30. Give me $10 back. They will go crazy. Because they can only input 20 and 30 in their things. The mind doesn't process outside a certain set of structures. Any kirana wala in any place in India will do this without batting an eyelid.
Yeah.
So we are very good at adapting beyond the system. And this adaptability is good in a world which is ambiguous. So this is the strength.
Yep.
Along with this strength, we have to be good enough to say, I don't want to adapt all the time. I must create systems. And that's what the multinational corporation and some of the exposures that we have teach us. Second example, multicultural. We all grew up in a place where we came from all across the country at school.
And multiple languages.
And shared our tiffins and we had multiple languages.
Yeah.
So when we go into an environment where there are 6 countries, we approach that with curiosity and not with stereotyping. And I'm not saying all Indians.
Yeah.
It is the best of the Indians. So I think some of these, and this is what we noticed, that when we spoke to there is this NRI stereotype.
Yeah.
That the NRI is saying India is polluted. You tend to put down the country.
Correct.
But when we spoke to
NRI being non-resident Indian.
Non-resident Indian.
Yes.
But when we spoke to Indian leaders of Indian origin who had made it on global stages, and we said, what did India do for you? They said adaptability.
Right.
They said competition as a way of life. They said doing more with less. They said multicultural. So they are able, but the best are the people who are able to draw on these strengths, but still acquire the strengths of the West. The strengths of the West are process. The strengths of the West are building systems and scale. So it's this combination that tends to work. But I think what the book did is, for many people, they started looking at their own Indian upbringing as a strength. And I think that was valuable.
Excellent. Almost prophetic. Ranjan, you've been called a change maestro and an institution builder of the year. What does legacy mean to you? And what kind of legacy do you hope Nayanta leaves, or you leave with Nayanta?
I think individual legacies are arrogant. I wouldn't like to talk about individuals leaving a legacy. What kind of
But having said that, they do, right? A leader leaves a legacy with the team, but there's a stamp of the leader in every institution.
Yeah. So, I recently read a book by my friend Shiv Kumar, where he talks about legacy, and he says, if people had to use one word to describe you, I never thought about this way. But out of curiosity, I went and asked 5 people who had worked with me.
What is the one word they describe you as? Culture.
It is the culture you create in the environment, in the organization. It is. Are you okay? So I'll give you. I can give you a story.
Yep.
And it's a story I'm very proud of.
I love stories.
Yeah. So I was 6 months into SP Jaimar. And there was a security guard. So every day if I come in at 8:30, the security guard is there. He's the only person who's there when you come in.
Correct.
And I'm sitting in my room, work has not started 8:30. The security guard comes to me.
Yeah.
And he knocks. He says, "Sir, can I come in Hindi?" He refuses to sit in front of me. So I ask him to sit, he refuses. So I stand up and we are talking. And he tells me, "Sir, after you have come, a lot of things have changed. But there is an electrician. He stays outside the campus. Every time the lights go out, you call him. It takes him half an hour to get there. So your campus doesn't have electricity for half an hour. There is a dwelling on campus which is free. Why don't you get the electrician to stay there?" We did it.
Okay.
That's not the achievement. The achievement to me, in 6 months, we had created a culture where the security guard plucked up the courage to knock on that door. So I think if you are talking about culture, the largest thing is that in academic institutes particularly, maybe applicable to leaders don't actually add value. The value is added at the interface between staff and students and faculty and students. Your job is to enable value creation. Without approachability, you will never know where you can enable. So to me, approachability is the big thing. And this is perhaps because I'm a mix of a corporate and an academic in terms of my lens. This is why I've insisted on teaching. Can you imagine any corporate organization where the CEO says, I'll do my job, but these messy customers, I won't meet them. It's perfectly okay for a director of an institute to say, I won't teach and I won't meet students. Why is that?
Yeah. No, well said. You talked about values there, Ranjan. Tell me, what values do future leaders need to thrive in today's world? And what values should we, as parents and educators, and as older people, inculcate in our youngsters, especially in an era which is, AI, the AI era, or the post-Trump era? What kind of values do you think we should inculcate?
I won't go to the post-Trump era because you still don't know whether Trump is an era or a short-term phenomenon. But the desire to make a difference to other people.
Okay.
Are you a contributor? And human beings are both collaborative and competitive. I think the value of collaboration. And if you look at even the most selfish or apparently individualistic person, and you ask them for their greatest satisfaction, often it is related to a difference they make to somebody else. So this ability to find what you're passionate about, what makes a difference to others, and surely, yes, what will the world pay you for? But my larger personal thing is that if you find something you're truly passionate about, where you enjoy the journey of chasing excellence, the money comes. I read this book long ago by Charles Handy called The Hungry Spirit. And one of the things he says that when it comes to the material,
Yeah.
We must define our concept of enough.
Mm.
So I'm not judging your concept of enough. It could be $1 million. It could be $500,000. It doesn't matter. But the moment you have defined your concept of enough and you get there, then your spirit is hungry for what it truly wants to do.
Right.
And I think if we can encourage young people to find that, because that is the way your job won't go to AI. Because you care enough about something for true excellence, and true excellence is magic. And true excellence is something you never achieve, right?
Yeah.
It's the journey.
Yeah. You know, I interviewed Mr. D.R. Mehta of Jaipur Foot a few months back. He was on this podcast. And he talks about a concept called the helper's high. When you help somebody, you get intoxication, almost like feeling high. Very interesting term, helper's high. And all of us see this in ourselves. When you do something good for the people or an institution, out of the love for the cause, you feel good. And that feel good doesn't come from spending money or doing anything else which is material, correct? Which is what you're talking about. Do you have a genuine intention to contribute to other people or to other causes around you and not just take in things?
And through that intention, magic happens. Again, can I share an anecdote?
Sure.
Again, first year in a business school I'm leading. And somebody comes to me saying there is a student who hasn't got a job for 4 days. She's super stressed. Can you help?
This placement season, basically.
Placement season.
Yeah.
In a management institute.
Correct. 4 days is a long time.
Yeah. 4 days is a long time. 40 companies have come and gone.
Correct.
Right? And 40 companies has been rejected 20 times.
Correct.
And I say, I'll meet her. And I have no idea whether I can help. I want to help. She comes and I start asking her, tell me about yourself. And all the answers are very mechanical. She's reached that point where people are going to reject me anyway. I'm going through the motions. I put the CV aside. Forget all this. Tell me about something you're proud of. And I've taken the interview away from the context. And she starts talking, and somewhere in the next 10 minutes, she smiles. And I say, where has that smile been for the last 1 hour? She breaks down in front of me. I can't handle it. I mean, I give her tissue paper. I have no idea what to do.
Yeah.
She goes out and she gets the next job.
Really?
And she stays with the job. I've tracked her career. She's doing very well. She goes out and tells people, he made me realize I was good. So, and then, it becomes a legend. It creates your word of mouth. Other people come. But it starts off with just intent. And you're muddling through. It's not that you have the skills to know what to do, right? You're just trying to help another human being.
So self-realization about your own self-worth is a big factor in doing well in life, right? Now tell me, we talked about AI. Very, very controversial, interesting topic, of course. How do you think education, especially high school, undergraduate colleges like Nayanta, will have to adapt with a newfound love that both students and teachers have for generative AI, like ChatGPT or Perplexity? Do you believe personally that AI has helped or harmed education?
I think the jury is out. I think it's up to us as educators. And I think we need to embrace it and not fight it. I think we need to embrace it and draw some boundaries for students, saying, this is where it can help you. This is where it can make you more productive. But you need to think for yourself. Use AI to refine a draft. Don't let AI write the first draft. So I think we need to be very purposive about the way we look at it. I think if you just see it as AI plagiarism makes life difficult for us to set exams, that's not the right way. Set exams such that AI cannot be used. Set exams you can't hack.
Is that possible though?
If I tell you, go out into an NGO which is dealing with health in a village and say, how will you improve the delivery of health in a village? ChatGPT doesn't have the answer. When knowledge intersects human emotion, AI is limited. So,
but you can write an essay on it. It can actually do it.
So I think the moment you say knowledge plus skill plus attitude and learning through experience, you're reducing the role of AI.
Yeah.
But let them embrace AI for certain things. Let them do it with curiosity. I think those boundaries you need to define. So there are people like Chris Gopalakrishnan who are talking about an AI-enabled university, which is saying build an AI into the fabric. I mean, think about this, even go further, right? Saying, think of a faculty member in the olden days who met very good overhead transparencies.
Correct.
And PowerPoint came along.
Yeah.
And the overhead transparency was dead. That skill was dead. But if that person said, let me enable PowerPoint and let me see how those skills I can use here. So if you embrace and take your skills to a higher level, what is very important is that people should still write for themselves. They should still think for themselves. There is some research coming out to say that if you're overly dependent on AI, some cognitive functions get impaired, etc.
Recently, yes.
Right?
Yes.
But rather than generalize that or stereotype that, I think it will enable certain things. We need to know its limitations and we need to embrace it and go beyond it.
So do you have an AI policy for Nayanta?
We will.
You will. Interesting, because I spoke to a professor friend of mine who said the way he is adapting to AI is moving more and more into oral examinations, vivas, where the student can't take a laptop along or an iPad along or a phone along and ask questions about the subject, which are far more based on understanding. And you see the student's reaction. So you talk through the exam. The moment you ask them to write, there's always dependence on a device that can come in, right? So I don't know if that will change how educators assess students, but I don't know what your view on this is.
Oral is good.
Yeah.
Experiments are good. Field-based work is good. Real-world problems are good.
Yeah.
Problems which are both people as well as knowledge are good. But also, if there is secondary plus primary research, AI can speed up your secondary research. And what's wrong with that? I mean, would you say, in the olden days, to find 10 books in a library took you some time?
Correct.
Google has sped up that process.
Yeah.
That's not bad. But at the same time, if you look at assignments, maybe the creativity in assignments has gone down. So it is up to us to design to say where is technology an enabler and where do we want to actually limit the impact of technology. That's really up to us. It needs faculty who are in teaching because they want to be in teaching.
Yeah.
I think the challenge is when you have faculty who are lazy, then it's worse than students writing. The faculty will use AI to generate the question.
Correct. Yeah. You can just go right now and ask ChatGPT, give me a grade 5 math question paper.
It will do it.
It'll do it. Okay. My final question on education. If you had to distill your educational philosophy into one sentence, what would that be? What would you say is the distillation of what you want to create in education?
There may be many, but I'll give you two fairly cliched sounding sentences. One is there are no bad students, only bad teachers.
Okay, interesting.
The second is people love to learn but hate to be taught. We need to move teaching environments to learning environments. That's the essence. How do you create an environment where people want to learn?
And that's what you're creating with Nayanta.
That's what we're trying to create with Nayanta.
Wonderful. Now, before we close the podcast, Ranjan, I come to the fun part of the podcast. We'll ask you some fun questions. This is a rapid fire, so no overthinking. Give me the first response that comes to your mind. We both went to IIM Calcutta. What's your fondest memory from mutual alma mater that still makes you smile?
West Bengal is that part of India which is known for sweets and a heavy sweet tooth.
Yes.
Our parties were not alcohol. They were not cake. They were sweets. And everybody would come for those sweets.
Mishti parties.
We call them Mishti parties. And it was so much of a thing that even corporates which would come would say, I know that you have Mishti parties. And somehow mysteriously everybody knew where there was a Mishti party and they would get there.
Amazing. It makes me smile even now. You lived in Hyderabad, Mumbai, Pune, and global cities like Minneapolis. Which city's street food do you secretly crave the most?
Kolkata.
Kolkata. Interesting.
Kolkata, value for money, those rolls.
Anything specific on Kolkata?
I think just the kind of rolls that you get on the street and the variety that you used to get even then and even now, I think
You've done TED speaking. As a TEDx speaker, which is one quirky topic you'd love to give a TED talk on, given a chance?
So I've given one which is I think quirky.
Yeah.
Which is why leaders should apologize and how.
Interesting. I must check that out.
The importance of apology for leaders. Why you should teach subjects you don't know.
It's a good one. Have you taught one subject you don't know?
It's been my philosophy to pick up new subjects. I teach subjects I want to learn. Because teaching is, I spend a lot of time investing in the subject before I teach it.
Of course.
But best way to learn a subject is to teach it to somebody else.
Ranjan, you teach design thinking. What's one everyday problem you would love to solve using design thinking?
If we could apply design thinking to how you get people in India to respect their environment, not to pollute. It's a multi-stakeholder problem. We respect our home environment a lot.
Yeah.
We behave very differently on our own streets.
Very true.
It's behavioral economics, it's multi-stakeholder. It's a whole.
Yeah.
And Indore, once a city has pride,
correct.
Then it turns around. So it's possible to do in India.
Yeah. If you weren't an educator, what completely different career would you have pursued?
So I've done entrepreneurship and that still attracts me.
Yeah.
But aspirationally, I would have loved to be a cricket commentator.
Excellent. You have the voice for it.
Just the idea of traveling the world and watching cricket is and getting paid for it,
Correct.
It ticks every box.
What's the one thing that students do that always makes you smile?
They refuse to sit in the first row.
You still continue,
Yeah.
From our
they refuse to sit in the first row.
You mentioned enjoying fiction for learning through imagination. What's one fiction book that you recommend to every student?
If a student asks me for a book, I typically say, what is the last thing you've read? So I adapt the book to the reading level of the student. So that's the qualifier.
Yeah.
Animal Farm, George Orwell.
Okay.
Don Quixote, Cervantes. Animal Farm, just power corrupts and absolute power corrupts absolutely.
Yeah.
Barack Obama said this, I think. He said, many a man can handle failure. If you really want to test somebody's character, let him be successful as a leader. So, how do you prevent power from going to somebody's head?
And finally, Ranjan, describe to me your perfect Sunday.
I have many perfect Sundays, but it would start with a very relaxed breakfast.
Okay.
Which would order in. There would be a book. It would be with family. If there was a cricket match, there would be a cricket match.
Lovely.
If not, there would be a movie or something but it's typically with family. It's relaxed. It has food. It has community.
Wonderful. Dr. Ranjan Banerjee, thank you so very much for a very thought-provoking conversation on curiosity, on courage, and of course on reimagining education in India and abroad. And thank you also for contributing your $1,000 Money Majlis gift card to Jaipur Foot. Congratulations on Nayanta University. You aren't just building a university, you're building a movement for sure. One that blends, as we learned just now, behavioral science, design thinking, and deep empathy to create future-ready leaders. Nayanta might be new, but its vision is timeless. And I think you will ensure that every learner is seen, heard, and inspired to become a change maker. So well done on that.
Money Majlis is proudly supported by Aqua Now, the premier crypto-as-a-service provider, now building in partnership with the top financial institutions in the Middle East. Discover more at aquanow.com.
Money Majlis is brought to you by E&, a global technology group.
Money Majlis is brought to you by Intellect Design Arena, driving digital adoption in banking and insurance.
Money Majlis is brought to you by Live Digital Bank, powered by Emirates NBD. Trust and innovation combined.
Money Majlis is brought to you by Network International, the leading digital payments technology company in the Middle East and Africa.
Money Majlis is conceived and scripted by me, Shubha Sarkar. The show is produced by Sabeen Achkar at Podster and is made possible thanks to our partners at Aqua Now, Emirates NBD, E&, Intellect Design Arena, and Network International. My giving partner is Good World. And today's episode was recorded in this beautiful house of my friends Alka Puri and Bharat Puri in Mumbai, who generously invited Ranjan and me for a very, very yummy breakfast on a Sunday morning. To our listeners, if you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe, share, and leave me a review. And please redeem your free $50 gift card to a charity of your choice on moneymajlis.com. Until next time, keep learning, keep questioning, and keep building your own majlis of ideas. Stay well and do good.